everyone, it is Nikki from Jewels and Jump Rings. Apologies in advance. You will probably hear my budgies in the background. Unfortunately, there's not a lot I can do about it because they like to talk when I talk. So if you hear birds in the background, that's probably it. So this is a sped up video of one of my live streams on Twitch, and I thought that I would share it with you to show you guys how I go about designing my stickers. So this is the sketching phase, or the art phase right now that you're seeing. So what I was doing is I was sketching a sunflower from a couple of reference photos that I had pulled up of a sunflower plant on Google. So you'll see me going through the sketch, you'll see me erasing some lines, checking some measurements and whatnot to make sure that I like how the sunflower is turning out. Yeah, so here you saw me do a little bit of measurement with my pencil to make sure that all the leaves were pretty similar to the same size, so that I had a nice kind of symmetrical, full-looking sunflower before I cleaned it up and moved on to the cleanup stage, or the inking stage, which you will see later on. And along with the sunflower, I decided to do a couple of toadstools. So you see me here doing a sketch of some toadstools that I had pulled up on Google. I just looked up mushrooms, and there were a few different varieties of mushrooms. I really liked the red ones with the little white speckles on them. So that is what I am basing these mushrooms off of, loosely basing these mushrooms off of, because I didn't exactly follow the picture that I had brought up, and I probably should have. I wasn't too happy with like the smaller mushroom that I did, and I didn't actually end up using it for the sticker pack. So I drew it and I colored it and inked it and everything, but I didn't end up using it because I wasn't 100% happy with how it looked. So this is the little light pad that I use when I transfer my sketches over to a clean piece of paper and start inking them. You'll see me pull out a few different markers. Most of them that I have are Sakura Microns, and I did find one of my old Copic multiliners, and I decided to use that one for the majority of my outlining because it was a really pretty sepia color, and I thought that it would go well with the yellows, oranges, and reds that I was using for the theme of the sticker pack. So I was just testing some of the markers because some of them are a little old. I wanted to make sure that they were still good. So as I go through and the outlining process, you'll see that I hit the button on the side of my light pad. It's actually pretty sensitive, and because it's sitting on the same side as my tower, just so that the cables don't get in the way, I tend to do that. So you see the little mushrooms I outlined in black, and I had to move the light pad around to make sure that it was on the mushrooms, because it is a little on the smaller side, but it does the job. So then I'm picking out the different color markers that I want to swatch once the outlines are done. So here I am picking out quite a few different markers. I tend to do that. And then you'll see me swatching on a separate piece of paper to see which ones I like better for the inked drawings. Now, most of the markers that I do use are Copics. Some of them are actually quite a few years old, and I'm surprised that they still work. I do have some Artist Loft markers in there that I've recently picked up that I wanted to test out to see how well they worked with the Copics. They actually work pretty well. I was surprised. So you can see me do a little bit of blending to see how the colors blend together. Some of the markers actually are quite pigmented. You see me put another piece of paper underneath because they do tend to bleed through the paper. So the paper that I'm using is actually animation paper from when I went to school for animation. And technically not really good for markers because the paper's so thin. But it's what I had on hand, so that's what I ended up using. So I started with doing the tips of all the petals in this really, really pale yellow, and then I go back with kind of a more vibrant yellow that's a little bit darker, do the rest of the petals. You'll see me go back and forth between markers as I blend everything out. And then what I'll do is from the bottom of the petals up, I will start working on some gradients and some shadows. So this is when I started going in with a darker yellow color. It does have a little bit of an orange tinge to it. I believe the color is Marigold, and that's one of the Artist Loft markers that I am using. And it actually blends really well with the yellow Copics that I was using for the petals. So I'd done the same with the other markers. I went through and I did some blending. You can see I put a little bit more shadow in there for some definition. And then I used that same Marigold marker for the center of the sunflower, and it was just like the base for the sunflower. You'll see me go back in with some darker colors, some oranges. I went in with like a neutral gray, and then I finished off the middle with a black. So there's the orange color that I went in with. It looks like really vibrant now, but once I start blending everything together, it actually starts looking really nice. There was actually so much pigment on the paper, you saw me kind of wave it around. That was me just trying to evaporate some of the alcohol that was in there because it was very saturated. Because I kept on going over it with quite a few different layers of markers just to try to really kind of blend out all of those colors. So after that, you see me dabbing on a little bit of black in the middle. I wasn't sure how much black I wanted to put in there because I didn't want it to be too strong. So I put a little bit in there and then I blended it out with the gray just to soften those edges a little bit. Yeah, you saw like a whole bunch of it kind of saturated through, but I mean, such is the way markers work. So now what I'm doing is I am moving on to the little mushrooms. So you'll see me swatching here for the mushrooms as well. That one gray marker was kind of dead, so I had to go find another gray marker. I don't think I ended up using the gray too much in the end, but I used a really, really pale red for kind of the base of the top of the mushroom. It didn't really do much because in the end I decided just to use one shade of the red for the top of the mushroom and do a little bit of a shadow on it. And then I just had a couple of tan colors that I used for the stem of the mushroom. So there wasn't too much more I did after that. I added a few shadows here and there for the mushroom and called it done. So then what I did is I moved on to the leaf and the acorn. Since you saw me do the line work for the mushrooms and the sunflower, I decided to skip that and go right to coloring. Yeah, these guys didn't take very long to color. I just did the oak leaf in shades of orange and went through with sepia to do a little bit of veining on the leaf once I was finished with it. And it was the same with the acorn. The acorn was only a couple of different colors as well. Yeah, you'll see me go through with a few different oranges. Just to try to kind of really blend that out. And then you see me going in with the sepia. I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to like doing any of the veining on the leaf, but actually it doesn't look too bad. And then again, I used some tans and some light browns on the acorn, and then a couple of dark browns for the cap. I think, yeah, see, there's the kind of lightish, or I think it's like brownish orange or something like that, that I used for shadowing, and then the cap. And then I go through with the sepia and just darken the cap of the acorn. Yeah, there you see me going through, just finishing up the acorn there. I had started to do like some intricate details on the cap of the acorn, but I didn't like how it looked, so I just blended it all out and left it the way it is there. And I just did a little bit more shadowing on there, did a little bit more blending. And there you have it. So those are the 4 designs that I did from sketch all the way up to finished drawing over the 4 hours of my stream, condensed down to almost 20 minutes. I tried to be a little bit, tried to condense it a little bit more than that, but it was really hard. So I hope you enjoy it. If you did, please give a subscribe and a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in the next video.